Okay. Om Mamhina Pitavaso
Om
Om
Tvam
Vamhina
Hina
Pitavaso
Pitavaso
Tvam Mata Shatakrato Babhuvitha
Tvam
Tvam Mata
Mata
Shatakrato
Shatakrato
Babhuvita
Babhuvita
Athate Sumnamimahe
Adhate
Adhate
Sumnamimahe
Sumnamimahe
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om
Om Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti.
Any questions on this one?
Yeah, I have a question.
Hmm.
You had written in the commentary that Shaunaka had a whole branch of Veda to his name. What
Okay,
is
let
that?
me stop sharing this. Stop sharing this. Yes, tell me.
So Shaunaka had a whole branch of Veda to his name.
Mm-hmm.
What is that one? Which one?
It is called
You written?
Shaunakiya Shakha.
Okay. And that would have from different Veds, everything?
I think it is only on Atharvaved. And this Upanishad is from that Shakha itself.
Ah, okay. Atharva. Okay.
Yeah.
Namaste, Uttaraji.
Namaste,
So
Savi.
I had, I don't know if it's similar doubt, but I wanted to know if there is any text or any place where we can find the timeline of how Vedas evolved from when they were given to the four rishis, the whole timeline till how we have it in the manuscript form. Is there a way to know that?
So, as far as when the Vedas originated, so as per our reckoning, it is with the beginning of creation. That is what the Arya Samajis say. But my own feeling is that it has to be with the beginning of a human creation. That is with the beginning of these sages. So when once these sages came around, then only this knowledge came. That does not mean that the planet Earth is the only one where these Vedas are there. Anywhere where human evolution has happened, there the Vedas will come by themselves. So the fact that Vedas are there and this Vedic knowledge is eternal, what it implies is that knowledge exists eternally. So it just appears, it is manifested at given points in time when human evolution comes to a certain stage. But otherwise, it already exists. The knowledge exists. The Vedas in this format exists in the ether, if I may say so. So that way, the Vedas themselves are supposed to arise with the origin of mankind. After that, how the different shakhas came, how the different uh, shakhas, the various versions formed, that it's very difficult to say because it is in such a hoary past that there are no dates available.
Like when that knowledge, that eternal knowledge, first it came to those four rishis, and from there, who got it? From there, how did it? Like it was all oral tradition, and then it became documented. So when would that have happened, or what? Who did that?
So
Did Ved
this
Vyas?
documentation thing also, Savi, I have my little reservation on that about the views which are held. But to answer your question on uh, the belief which is normally held that the documentation started happening quite late, and it was a Shruti Parampara for a very long time. But we know that when Chanakya went to Takshashila, writing was already there and manuscripts were already there, and a lot of manuscripts were burnt in Takshashila and Nalanda. Uh, I doubt we have any manuscripts which are that old, that is around 2000 years old or so. So, if manuscripts were available then it is, uh, it's possible that they existed even before that. And even Devanagari is supposed to have evolved much later, and Brahmi is supposed to have come first, the Brahmi script. But if you look at the Brahmi script, it is so very immature kind of a script, and it doesn't seem as if it is possible to even have all the Vedas and the Swaras written in that script. So again, I have a little bit of doubt over there, but that is what is believed, that Brahmi script is the one which came first, and because the oldest edicts which we find on stones, those are in the Brahmi script, and then subsequently we start seeing Devanagari appearing in later edicts. So that is why that belief is there. But just like Sanskrit itself is such a pure, such an advanced language, I feel Devanagari is also a very advanced script. So I do believe that it existed long before. And also, even though the brains of our sages were so vast and they could hold so much information, so that just speech could lead to transmission, I think to pass on to normal human beings, script would have evolved long back. And Shruti Parampara would not have started only some 2000 years back. It would be quite ancient as well. Even like I was seeing this Ram, the movie Ramayana. So there also they say no, that they had to write on the stone Ram, 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 Ram. So if they wrote Ram on the stone, then it would float on the ocean while forming the Setu. So that means that already writing was there, but we don't connect the two things. So if Ramayana is so old, it is a lakh years old or so. So then script already existed. That is why I feel that we tend to not see these little pointers which are there, and just because it is said Shruti Parampara, so we just continue to say it was an oral tradition. It is not like that. It was not completely 100% oral. That is not possible. Okay.
Ji, thank you.
Uttara, I have a question.
Tell me.
It may be silly. You said
No question is silly, please.
You said this is the fifth Upanishad, right?
Yeah.
But it's mentioned fourth in the, when you say na, Isha Kena Katra Mundaka Mandukya.
Cut a prashna. Have I missed out prashna in that?
This is page 1 of your notes.
Yeah, Ishikena Katha Prashna.
Prashna comes. Okay. Thank you.
Well,
And you have mentioned now you're going to talk about those 6 auxiliary sciences.
yes,
no?
yes. I will talk about it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
And any other question is there? Okay, so I will do some clarifications of the previous class, then I will ask you a question before we do the recap. So one thing I wanted to elaborate on was this difference between Brahma and Brahma in general. So both Brahma and Brahma are from the same root word, which is Brahman. And this is derived from the Brihi Vridho dhatu, which means बढ़ा हुआ जो है, that means that which is large, that is called Brahman. So that is the generic meaning of Brahma. So anything which is large, which is huge, large as not in very a large pumpkin or something like that, but really huge, tremendous. That will be called Briha or Brahma. So that is firstly the generic meaning of Brahma, of which the original word is Brahman. Now, Brahman in neutral gender becomes Brahma in the Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachanam, and that is the nominative case, single um, number. And in pulling, in masculine gender, it becomes Brahma. So typically, when we are addressing God, when we are talking about God, then we say Brahma, which is in neuter gender. Typically, God is in neuter gender, then many times he's in the masculine gender, and a few times relatively he is in the um, feminine gender. So, God in the neuter gender is addressed as Brahma, not addressed, not, is spoken of as Brahma. While Brahma, when we are talking about, that is the person, the sage, who was a male, and therefore he was called Brahma. Okay, so this was a seer. Please don't confuse with the gods. In the Vedic tradition, there are no gods. There is no Indra, there is no Vishnu, there is no Brahma, uh, there is no Shiva, nothing. Okay, there is a single God who is, we will actually see some of his properties today. So there is only that single God, and these are all his names. So when we want to refer to him as a with a particular property, then we call him with that name. So when we want to refer to him as somebody who has made the universe, we will call him Brahma. When we say that somebody who has who has given us the Vedas, which are a huge fountainhead of knowledge, then we will call him Brahm. Just like you saw in the Shanti part, we are calling him Vasu because we are focusing on the fact that he is giving us a habitat to live in. So that is why he is Vasu. And then we call him Shatakratu because we are looking at the many, many works which he has done to make our life good. So he is called Shatakratu. So similarly, he is called Brahma. So Brahma is not a separate entity. It is the same God being called Brahma, being like you might call somebody, oh, beautiful. So you are just, beautiful is not a word which is reserved for that person. You are just saying, describing their quality at that point in time. And you want to say it that way. Bring out the fact that that person is beautiful. Okay. So that is one item I wanted to tell you. Then I had to tell you the Vedangas. So regarding the Vedangas, there are 6 of them. So starts with Shiksha. Shiksha is about, these are firstly, they are auxiliary sciences which are necessary to know before you can even read the Vedas, but definitely required if you want to do a commentary on the Vedas. So that is how you can actually distinguish between a commentator on the Vedas who has not studied any of this. You know, I in fact find people who have not even, who don't even know Sanskrit, who start commenting on Agnimide Purohitam. Arey, first learn the language at least. But to understand the Vedas, at least you have to know much more. So these are 6 Vedangas which you definitely are supposed to study before you start understanding the Vedas properly. So if now the first one is Shiksha. So Shiksha is how to pronounce words. So this whole branch of knowledge is related to the pronunciation of words. As you can see in the alphabet itself, it is so scientific. You know, ka, kha, ga, gha are pronounced from the same point in the same way. There is just a minor difference in which you throw the air out, and that makes the difference between ka, kha, ga, gha, and nga, of course, which you take out through the nose. So the way you move the air while your tongue and the shape of your mouth is the same, which you can see very clearly in pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. You know, if you had to lip read me, you may not be able to make out the difference between these letters at all. So it is such a scientific system. So Shiksha provides you the right way in which to pronounce all these things. Okay, so that is Shiksha. Then Kalpa. Kalp consists of two parts, that is Shrot Sutra and Griya Sutra. So Shrot Sutra tell you how to perform yajnas mainly. Okay, so they tell you how to make the Vedi and how to perform the yajna too, to some extent. That is also part of Kalpa Shastra. Then you have Griya Sutra, which tells you how to perform your functions as a grihasti in largely, though a little bit of your vanaprastha and sannyasa ashram is also covered, but mostly it is about the grihasti and the kartavyas which are there of the grihasti, the duties of the householder. These are the two parts of Kalp. So you can understand that it is covering the worldly dharmas which are there for a human being. Then you have Vyakaranam. Vyakaran is grammar. That is simple. The rules by which words are placed together in a particular syntax. Um, in Sanskrit, the syntax is very loose. That is why we have difficulty in coming out with a correct meaning sometimes, because there are multiple meanings which are possible. Then you have Nirukta. So Nirukta is etymology that digs down deeper into each word and tells you how each word was formed, and therefore what are its potential meanings. So just like I was telling you about Brahma is formed from Brihe Dhatu. So similarly, it takes a lot of the Vedic words and then breaks them apart, splits them, and gives you its various meanings. That is called Nirukt. There were many Nirukts in the past which were available, but right now we have only one Nirukt which is available to you, and that is Yaska's Nirukt. Then you have Chand. This is the science of prosody. That is meter. A meter, you understand, the poetic meter. Okay, the tempo, the way the syllables go in the verse. So this is also very important. Each mantra of the Veda has a particular chand which is associated with it. The science of prosody is extremely advanced in Vedic literature, and if you just see the number of chandas which are available, each chand itself, for example, if you take Anushtup, which you must have heard of, you can add one more syllable and make it Anushtup plus, and then you add one more and it becomes plus plus, and you can add you can take off one and it will become Anushtup minus, and take off two, it becomes Anushtup minus minus. By the time you hit actually the next lower chand and the next chand above, so they are in fact even overlapping somewhat, but still it will determine. Uh, you will be told that it is Anushtup only, and it is not the lower chand and it is not the higher chand. This is because the chand itself has a bearing on the meaning of the Vedic mantra. So the chand is of the mantra is also fixed. So highly advanced science of prosody, which has to be known by the person who is trying to understand the Vedas or commenting upon it. Then Jyotish. Jyotish is astrology. So since Vedas cover a lot of the movement of the nakshatras, etc., cover the seasons, the 6 seasons which you are familiar with, and etc. So all those are covered in the Vedas already, and therefore you have to know the science of astronomy to be able to figure out those Vedic mantras. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand that portion. So these are the 6 auxiliary sciences of the Vedas which should be understood before you can really comprehend the Vedas. Little bit, sure, even we are comprehending little bit here and there without knowing these things very well. But still, if we understand, then we will understand the Vedic mantra well. Any questions?
So Jyotish covers astronomy as well as astrology,
So
or only
astrology is
astronomy?
something which came about later, Vidya. I
Okay.
am not very sure
So it
that
is astronomy basically,
it is astronomy basically.
and all the
I
calculations.
am, see, Swami Dayanand was very much against the meaning of astrology to be applied to Jyotish. But again, you see in even Ramayana, astrology is referred to, and some, omens and all that based on the position of the planets, etc., are given. So, my knowledge is not deep enough to be able to tell you 100% sure that yes, it is only astronomy, but based on Swami Dayanand's word, I can tell you that it is supposed to be basically
Astronomy.
it. I would say that it would include a little bit of astrology, at least to the extent of the making of the calendar. So, typically the making of the calendar is not put under astronomy. So, at least the Panchang creation is part of Jyotish as well. All your
Okay.
Tithi and Maas and etc. Paksh is as per astrology.
But don't you think so? The position of the planets are all astronomy it comes. So on that basis, only the prediction is done. The prediction part is called Jyotish. But the whole thing is depends on the astronomy, how the movements are there, at what time the planets are meeting. All these things come into the Jyotish. And you said the panchang for the daily use also, the how time and then all the signs and the stars and all, also that also there outside.
Correct. So
So
that is what I'm saying.
with
So
the
that part,
reference.
that part is definitely part of this Jyotish. But whether that prediction part, what your character will be like, what will happen to you tomorrow, all that kind of stuff which is there, which is typically what we understand by astrology today, is whether it is part of it or not. I am not too sure. I don't think it is part of that. I have also not come across any such theories in the Vedas that if you are born in this nakshatra, then you should be like this or something like that. So I myself would also agree with Swami Dayanand, and of course Swami Dayanand knew much more about the Vedas, so we can go by what he says. So let us go with this just now, that astronomy basically is the main part of Jyotish, plus the Panchang part of astrology is part of this here. Okay,
I have a question, Uttaraji.
tell me, Prashanti.
So you're mentioning that Brahma is at times referred as neuter gender and at times in masculine and at times in feminine gender. I'm just, out of curiosity, I'm just asking, I mean, is there, when is he specifically referred to in neuter gender and, is there any reference to that or it is random?
No, it is. It seems pretty random to me.
Okay.
Most of the time, I would say that he is given in neuter gender because he's not supposed to have a gender actually. So, when can you have a gender? When you have a form. So when he's without a form, he has no gender.
I mean, I was just trying to connect when we talk about certain deed that Paramatman does, and does that give it like a masculine or feminine gender to him?
It
Have
may
you
be at
seen any
times.
reference of that?
It could be at some points in time like that. Maybe.
Okay. And one more question. When we talk about the kalpa, which you said it is the how we perform the yajnas and all that, that is what is given in kalpa. But that is also what is given in Vedas also, right? So what is the auxiliary science talking about there?
These are coming out of the Vedas only. So they are not
Okay.
separate from the Vedas. They have all the early sages who understood all these subjects very well. They only have created these shastras for us to be able to comprehend the Vedas better, because the comprehension of the Vedas itself is not an easy task. So now, if you have studied Kalp and you have studied certain technical terms over there, then once you come across the same term in Vedas, you will immediately comprehend it. Otherwise, it will be
Understood.
difficult. Okay, I will need to close this session because we are coming to an end of this. So, yeah, rejoin.